Hey everyone, today we're going to be picking into this Schlage Everest Primus. Let's give it a quick open up with the key to show that it works. This lock, and take a quick look at the key, has 6 pins across the top, and in addition to those 6 pins across the top, we also have 5 finger pins along the side. To pick this, to deal with this high-low bitting, I'm going to be using a Peterson, I think it's a hook number 4 in 25 thousandths. For the finger pins, I've actually made a few different picks. This is the one I'm happiest with, and I'll talk more about those once we get it open. But I gave them a quick rake just to be sure that all their orientations are nice and jumbled up. And as I'm picking this, I have to admit, I've been picking this lock and kind of solely this lock for the past couple of weeks now. I took out all of those pins across the top and just progressive pin those finger pins on the side until I was confident that I had the feel down. But even with that, it still took me quite a long time to get the hang of. But one of the sort of downfalls of working with the same lock again and again and again is that I've, just out of sheer muscle memory, I've memorized the binding order. And so I think if we just hit the second pin now, actually just a tiny bit, we're going to see some rotation on the core. And that'll tell us that all of those pins across the top are set. And we can start working on the finger pins. And there we go. So now we just have finger pins to deal with. And the same thing here, I've picked these a lot, so I kind of know what I'm looking for, which ones to hit. If this were a lock in the wild, things would not go nearly this quickly. But that's just what happens when you pick the same lock again and again and again. Okay, so 4 is binding. There we go. 5 is binding. There we go on 5. Another tiny little click out of 4. And one thing I learned, in doing this, the clicks and the feedback you get from these finger pins is very, very subtle. You really have to use a light touch. You can overset things very easily. But that was one of the biggest differences, just how subtle everything is with these finger pins. Now 3 feels binding. Pick stuck a little bit. There we go, 3 is set. 2, maybe. 4, it's a tiny bit again. And another thing I noticed was I find myself having to go back to the same pins that I've already hit a couple times. I don't know if they move a little bit when I'm lifting the other pins or what, but that was something else I had to learn, that just because you get some feedback on a pin once doesn't mean it's done. Okay. I think 1 is binding now, I think. I think I've probably overset something here. The first 3 pins are really easy to overset in this. Go ahead and release a little bit of tension, see if we can get something to drop down. Oh, there we go. It dropped down, and we got it open. So something was overset, and just releasing just that little bit of tension dropped us down right into the gate. So we've got this thing open now. All right, let's go ahead and get everything over here, and we can get this thing. Okay, we don't need this anymore. Alright, so I'll put this over here. There are my 4 different versions of finger pin picks that we'll get to. Got my control key. Lock this back up. There we go. And now, I love this little tool. I think this came in my Sparrow's reload kit. And it's just great at getting the back of these Schlages off. Because it fits right in there. Just push and you can just unscrew without having to worry about the little check pin at the back. Okay. There we go. Make sure I have the right key here. Okay, let's get the follower. Oh, drop that off, that's okay. If I could pick this up, there we go. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take the sidebar out first, just so I don't lose it or its little bitty springs. There they are. Okay. Let me zoom in here a little bit. There we go. And let's get these out of here. So there's the little control pin. How should I put these in here? Let's do 6, 5, 4. 3, 2, and 1. So all just standard key pins here. And one thing I was really happy about, whenever you have the key inside, there's no risk of the finger pins popping out. So we have the finger pins right there. They're not going anywhere. But sort of live and learn. As you take the key out, be sure your finger is over those finger pins because they will jump out at you. Had to hunt down for one for quite a while. So let's get these out of here. There we go. You can see they've all lifted up now. Okay, so here's finger pin 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And all of their springs are all the same, so I'm just going to dump the springs. And of course, they have to be extremely hard to pick up. There we go. Let's turn this one around. Okay, so there's our core. Now let's pull these driver pins out. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'll dump those springs out as well. Alright, and there's our core. And so let me zoom in really quick. I think that's as far as I can zoom in. There we go. So with my setup, sorry, that's as close as I can get you to it. But I'll pick up one of these finger pins just so we can sort of see what we're working with. And maybe, there we go. So you can see the finger pin there, and you can see the gate on it. So you have to be lifted to the right height as well as turned in the correct orientation for the sidebar to disengage. So there we go. There's our Schlage Everest Primus. And now, as I was saying, I want to quickly talk about these different tools that I used. So this is the one that I used to get into it. Sawdust on me. And what this is an old Southward rake that I never used, and I sacrificed it to become my finger pin pick. I think it's in 25 thousandths, and all I did was hack off the end of it and just shape it. Well, if we can, there we go. Shape it how I wanted it. Okay, the very first pick that I made was this one, which is very, very similar. There's not too big of a difference between these two. I stuck with this for probably 3 or 4 days, and I got a little bit of feedback, but just nothing was really happening for me. And you know, I didn't want to lose another pick to make these finger pin picks, so I was really trying to make this thing work, but I was just very, very unhappy with it. So what I did next was I went to an old broken Sparrow's Black Flag pick. I actually made a post about this a little while ago. So the flag was broken off of the pick. So I heated it, I bent it, then I used a Dremel to try to shape it. That's how I got my first open. And it felt really nice. I got a lot of great feedback from it. It's much more sturdy than this. So it gave me great feedback. So I was happy with it. I thought, well, I need to clean it up, same way I sort of need to clean this one up. So I went back, I tried to file it down just a tiny bit more to make it look really pretty and sand it down. Well, I filed it too much. I got it too weak here in the shaft, and when I was trying to push one of the finger pins, it bent. And it was just ruined after that. So I broke the piece off and I tried to make it again. I tried to make exactly the same thing, which was this. This worked for me, but the problem is it's not long enough. It will only hit the first 4 finger pins. So I went back to another pick that had broken. That's why I made this one. I stuck with this one for a few days and just wasn't happy again. I just couldn't get that same feedback that I did in my original pick. So that's when I went back to my first model. And really the only difference here is I made the little flag part on the end just a tiny bit thinner. Maybe if I do something like this. Well, if we can zoom in here. There we go. So the one on the right is what I just currently used to open it. The left is my first attempt. So not too big of a difference, but it made a big enough difference for me to open up this lock. I'll say if you're working on these, the finger pin pick is really key. Don't sort of be set into one finger pin pick. Try making a few. Like I said, it was my 4th attempt before I got one that I was comfortable with. So keep trying at it, and the finger pins eventually they'll sort of give you the feedback that you're looking for. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.